Okay, so June, interesting concept. I mean, think now looking at the music battlefield, it's complex, and it everyone's complaining about having no money. Where's the model? What's the future model? Maybe you've stumbled upon the future model. So, what is June?
Essentially, DUNE is a way of monetizing the streaming data effectively for artists and fans. And it's something that's never been attempted before. We're not trying to take money from the streaming, we're literally monetizing it in a new way. And it's using technology that's just come along in the last decade, really, where you can sell digital tokens online that can give you access to all kinds of things. And we thought this would be a great way to utilize this in tokenized assets with streaming data. So
Yeah, so
combining those
it's
two
not strictly
things.
streaming, is it? I mean, this is some way of monetizing streaming, something extra you can actually make money out of for a band. So, what is it?
So essentially, what we're doing is taking the streaming data and finding a way of monetizing that. So if you can put money into the streaming data or pull money from that, that's the difference. So we're rather than commodifying the music, we're commodifying the artist. So it's essentially like investing in an artist. So buying a share in Taylor Swift.
It's a bit like a musical version of the stock market that you get to invest in bands that you like.
It is.
So how does that work for the fan? So I'm the fan. I like your band. How do I invest in your band using June?
The best way to explain it is simply an artist can put its stake sale live through the app at a value that they've predetermined. It can be anything from $15 to $50, and that can be any artist on the planet. The fan can then download the app and then purchase this, what we're calling a stake. And that goes straight to a reward that the artist offer. And then that stake that you have now on your portfolio, then the price fluctuates. It goes up and down with daily with the streaming data. So the more streams, it goes up. If the streams drop, the price drops. So to kind of quantify it even more so is 1 million streams equates to just £2,000. That's pre-distribution, pre-cost. So in terms of the value of the stake, if you're buying it for $10, $15, $20, that is absolutely a new way, a new huge way of making money from that data that I don't think you can do it anywhere else. I don't think there's any other way of monetizing that data the way we're doing it en masse. I believe June can replace album sales revenue. That's it. I think it's a portal to an asset that's attached to that streaming data. And as a fan, I can put my cans on, I can listen to that for 2 or 3 hours and potentially watch the price go up. And that is fascinating.
So, I mean, what's the fan get out of this? I mean, apart from investing in the band, a band that they like, which is great, is there all the stuff they get from it, or just feeling part of the creative process?
Well, I think as a fan myself, I like and love the idea of potentially feeling like I own a piece of that artist. I love that. I want to be able to build that portfolio up and feel like I own a piece of that artist. Secondly, once you bought a stake, you end up getting a June exclusive reward. So an artist can then offer anything they want on the back end. So they basically can offer, pre-sale, VIP, guest list, a new song, a video. It can be literally anything exclusively for that June stakeholder.
I mean, it seems to there's people trying things not like this before, but in this kind of space, haven't they? Where you can watch the band record the album and pay to do that, can't you? Or you can get VIPs, whatever, all that kind of thing. Is this kind of a simplified version of that model that's easier for people to get their heads around and understand?
Yeah, really. It combines all those things. Like, I mean, the idea of, fan engagement apps, really. We're incorporating all the fan engagement, but also with the potential of getting a financial return as well, because if you invest in your artist over time, their streaming will go up and you can trade those stakes with other fans, as well as getting the rewards. You can potentially make profit from it yourself as well.
I understand it working really well for medium to small bands. I think it's a really good model because people understand now that if you're a smaller band, it's pretty hard to survive, isn't it? Which I think is a bit of a drag, isn't it? 'Cause when I first got into bands, people thought bands flew around in their own jets, and now they feel sorry for you, which is quite sad, really, isn't it? Well, I get that, so you can invest in that band to make it survive. But if you're a bigger act, why would you need this? Because surely you would have Patreons and you'd have versions of that, wouldn't you? Or what's in it for the bigger acts?
I mean, from the bigger acts point of view, again, being able to offer stuff to their fans that they don't offer through other channels. But also, even the big acts, they're not necessarily making the sort of revenue that they should. They might be going on the huge tours, but all this is usually comes from advances from the labels or from private investment, and that all has to be recouped. And it used to be recouped through album sales, but obviously that's not happening now. So even though they're getting hundreds of millions of streams, after everything's been recouped, they're still only just about able to have a career. We're only talking about a tiny fraction of a percentage of the top tier artists on Spotify that can be considered to be wealthy from selling their music.
That question gets brought up quite a few times. What's in it for the bigger artists? Why do they need it? At the end of the day, whether you are Ed Sheeran or a band that's just coming out of the blocks playing the local pub, the streaming data should be and must be monetized for all. I think it's fair.
So in a way, it's actually asking the fans who already get, they can go on streaming, get and listen to this stuff for hardly any money at all, can't it? It's pretty cheap for them to listen to. It's actually asking them for their goodwill to help to invest in the bands, which I'm sure most people are totally happy to do, actually, aren't they? I think most people don't love Spotify because it's cheap. Most people love Spotify or the other streamers because it's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think most people I know would actually happily pay a bit more if they knew the artists were getting it. Well, that's the crux of this, isn't it?
But you genuinely, you can make a profit from it as a fan.
So it's actually a two-level thing here, isn't it? It's like investing in the bands and also playing it sort of a rock and roll stocks and shares, isn't it?
Rock and roll stocks and shares. That's it. Yeah. It's really safe and really clean and cool and fun. And it has all the attributes of being something that has as longevity between the fan and the artist as well. There's a relationship that can be built from grassroots up to the top end with this. And it's not just a one-trick pony. It's something that a fan can be engaged with for months and months.
Things are open to abuse, aren't they? People can bend things around, make them work in their own way, fake streams, even AI. It's got to make everything very chaotic. So how do you work around that and how do you avoid those kind of issues?
Yeah, so we've thought about this a lot, obviously, with it being a financial platform, and as soon as money's involved, it's got to be safe and secure. And the idea of fake streaming or people trying to game the system is something that we've built into DUNE from the very beginning. If you're trying to fake streams or game it in some way, it's not possible for you to benefit from it, because in order for you to have a marketplace to sell your stakes, you need to have some real fans. It's all well and good faking some streams and driving your price up, but if there's nobody there to buy your stakes, it's a completely pointless enterprise. So really, you only get rewarded from engaging in the platform properly. Any attempt to try and game the system, you're only going to cheat yourself out of money. So any kind of attempt to do insider trading or anything, if you worked at one of the labels, you're effectively just paying DUNE to buy back your own stakes. If you don't have a genuine fan base and a genuine marketplace for your stakes, you're just wasting time when you're giving DUNE money. So effectively, it's not possible to game the system.
It's bad for them, but good for you.
Exactly. Yeah. By all means, attempt it, but you're not going to win.
It's like you're paying a fine in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
An involuntary fine.
You only get rewarded from using the system properly, which is how it should be.
What we've tried to do with DUNE is remove the legwork from the artist. Because, look, an artist has got about 4 or 5 profiles it's got to maintain, work with, content it's got to provide for. And it's great for the fan, it's great, but it's a lot of work that the artist has to do and can kind of really dominate an artist's career. And a lot of these artists they're just not equipped to do X, Y, and Z, and that's not their fault. So again, our ethos is how can we make it easy for the artist? How can we remove that? And the software that we've designed in the back end is it's that user friendly that it's at the touch of a button you can do everything you want to do. And also, to put the cherry on the cake, the artist isn't obliged to fulfill a reward or engage with a fan every single day, every single week, or every single month. The artist can do that however it wishes to do that, because it is a two-way street. If I'm investing in an artist, that price is going to go up. I'm there for the investment as well. If I get something else with that sporadically over the year, that's a bonus. And if it's only 20 quid, great. I might buy 3 or 4 of these stakes.
But like I say, unlike Patreon, where there's an obligation to, now you've taken the money, you've got to keep delivering. With DUNE, it's up to the artist. The more they engage with it, the more they're going to get out of it. There's no obligation constantly, like with things like Patreon.
Under their own steam, if they were touring anyway, they wouldn't have to actually be engaged with Dune all the time for their shares to go up, stock shares to go up. Because if they're doing well and people listen to their streams, they don't have to push
naturally through their
Yeah.
activity.
I mean,
that
like you
creates
say, it would help,
fluctuations,
wouldn't it?
yeah.
But it's not
Yeah. This is what I really love about this as well, which is fascinating as a fan, is you can actually then get stuck into an artist's career, looking at what they're doing in 6 to 12 months, and then base your investments on activity. Are they on the radio in a couple of weeks? Have they got a tour coming out? Have they got a new... Any activity they do will affect the price. So as a fan, by knowing the artist's activity, you can then invest accordingly. You know, I like that. I think it's really cool.
If you're a band that's engaged, and most young bands are now, aren't they? They're not going to have a problem working yet another sort of media, are they? How would you make it work for that band? You know, what would be the ideal sort of over a month or so? What would you be doing?
Literally look at what I'm doing in the next, 2 or 3 months. Have we got any gigs? Have we got anything? What are we doing? What's our output anyway? Are we putting anything new out? Have we got an album? Then you can align it with that. Then what you could do is then you would launch Dune as a campaign at a predetermined price. You'd put a reward with that in conjunction with it, and it would be exclusive to that campaign. And that would be a good way to start. And then you can literally bolster on maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the year. Again, like Paul said, you can do pretty much what you want to do. And it's up to the artist. They can then amalgamate that and add whatever they want to kind of broaden the horizons for the stake price for the audience to be more engaged. But the best thing to do for an artist is to kind of use it in tandem with what they might be doing anyway. So it's just an add-on. It's just what we would class it as. It's a new piece of digital merchandise that you can work with.
I mean, would you be working with some kind of mailing list? Is this how it works? When people buy the share in the band, they join a mailing list for that space to get the information to them, or would you be relying on the fan to be engaged, to keep checking?
Well, they have access. The artist has access to all its data immediately, so it can do with that as they wish. So
as soon as an artist does anything, it's the fans or their stakeholders, as we call them, they're immediately notified through the app. So if an artist has got a new reward out, that literally goes out to everyone, and they can then, depending on what the reward is, claim it or view it. And the rewards can be anything from as little as just some content, some digital content. Maybe it's some behind the scenes, maybe they're in a rehearsal room. It could be backstage. It could be some unreleased material, or like a ticket pre-sale if they're going on tour, or even a giveaway. If they're in a bit of downtime and they've got a bunch of guitar picks and drum heads from the last tour just cluttering up the practice space, which I know every band has, you can give them away, and fans love that kind of stuff.
You can give away drum heads. You sell them.
Well,
you get about 60 quid for those.
the spent ones. Sign it and give it away. It's a great price for someone, and it'll encourage the fans to buy stakes and engage with your marketplace as an artist, even during your downtime.
So it's direct to market, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Which is so crucial for musicians. There's lots of different ways. There's 2 different ways I can see this working very clearly. One is that low level thing, in it. VIPs, guest lists, plectrums, whatever. And the other one is your normal scheduling, release tours. That's just two hits of news that makes it work for the fan to band relationship, isn't there?
It's like we say, there's no obligation, and it's up to the artists, how much they engage. And obviously, the more they engage with it, the more they're going to get out of it as well.
Yeah, every artist will use it completely differently.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's crucial about it is, for the first time ever, with real money, is the ability for a fan to earn from listening to their favorite bands, which is powerful. And I think it needs to be there. I think there has to be that two-way connectivity. There has to be that almost meet in the middle, which I think there is with that. And that's why I think it's really safe and circular. And the cherry on the cake with it as well is the fact that you're going to be listening to your favorite artist more to try and increase your stake price.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does that do as well? It increases the DSP volume, which means it increases the DSP payout. So we're essentially putting coal into a pre-existing economy by tagging onto that data. So it's 2 or 3-fold. It's great. So you should, in theory, if you've got 100,000 fans globally listening to your artist, this is just a random figure, they're going to probably listen more to try and get their price up, and it's just going to pay dividends in the future. That's the pattern, and that's the circular kind of, that's why we're calling Dune a new economy.
Yeah, so this new economy, I was just thinking about that. I mean, how much would that actually change the music business economy? Would it become another force in it, or something that works with the labels, the promoters, the bands, the fans?
All of the above, really.
Just more glue
Yeah.
a better glue.
A better glue,
actually.
yeah. The vision is essentially replacing that lost revenue and it to be essentially what CDs and vinyl were doing. Like if every fan spent $10 on their favorite artist, you've done it. You're halfway there. You've done it. So in terms of management companies, labels, and promoters, there's something in it for everybody. We deal a lot with labels at the moment who are really interested in working with DUNE from an A&R perspective because they want to use DUNE as a data analytic tool.
No, that's interesting.
Really
So,
refined.
do you just unpack that as well?
Yeah.
Because that's another role, a very key role, but a very
Yeah.
different role that
Yeah.
you could be doing.
So you'll be able to find out where these stakes are getting bought, when they're getting bought, how much they're getting bought for, how much they're getting sold for.
It could be used as a promotional tool as well.
100%,
If you got a new band or a project and it's doing really well in Glasgow and Edinburgh, but not so well in Manchester and Liverpool,
Correct.
would there be ways of using it to connect with like-minded people, like-minded fans in their places?
100%.
So if you're, I don't know, if you're into electro pop or something,
Yeah.
and you live in Manchester and you buy some shares in a couple of electro pop bands, and somebody's trying to launch something the same genre, would you be sending them information if you like this, you like that as well? Algorithms in a sense, or playlists?
Management companies stroke artists will have direct access to that data free. So that'll be a starting point for that. In terms of making partnerships up, in terms of being able to delegate and send that information out to specifically, like you're discussing there, then there's possibilities for that. That's relationships, isn't it? And looking at how that data would be used. But because it's free, we're giving it away. Then there's possibilities for anything.
So if you get this right, it will completely, to me, it seems like it will completely revolutionise the way music's financed, propagated, the whole model, really.
We totally believe so, yeah.
At the moment, you're working with lots of other parts of the industry, aren't you? So the Spotify's in there, isn't it? And using that as part of, that's your stream. But you're using all the different streamers or...
All DSPs, yeah.
Yeah. And all different aspects of music. So basically, if you get this right again, this is the fulcrum where everything joins together.
Yeah.
Around the artist in the middle.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's it, yeah. I can't see how an artist or a management company wouldn't use this. Mm-hmm. I just think, as somebody that's been in management myself, I've been an artist for 30 years. I've been in artist development and, looking after the studios and running studios.
Yeah, because you're running a massive rehearsal room complex in Manchester.
Yeah.
In Stockport. And you know loads of bands, you speak to bands, you know the band's concerns, you know what the bands want. So this is not like a couple of people sat on the outside, like a couple of random investors thinking they could make a quick kill of music. It's people from the heart of music.
Oh, definitely,
hearing what the people actually do want.
Yeah.
And you built that model around that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been profound to see the amount of individuals in the industry from all kind of walks of life that have gravitated towards DUNE from the beginning because of that very thing, because of the spirit of the thing, because, we've been building these studios for years and years and years, and we see all manner of artists come through from all walks of life. The industry needs DUNE. It needs it. It needs to have that connectivity between fan and artist where everybody wins, and it's the long game as well. This isn't a one-trick pony. This is something that can go on indefinitely. And I just think it's going to be a real fix for the industry across the board.
I mean, speaking from a musician's perspective, you're always suspicious of anything, even if it looks really good on the outside, because you're always scared of losing your music and the rights to your music. So how do you deal with that?
Well, the DUNE stakes are completely independent from the music and from the artists themselves. It's like an entirely new digital product. So essentially, you're not giving up any rights. There have been some other apps where they've tried to monetize the music again by sharing or selling shares in the music. So you could buy shares in an album. That's a bit pointless because the album hasn't really generated any revenue from the artist's perspective. So they don't really want to share, naff all to their fans, and their fans are essentially buying a share in something that's worth naff all. So that doesn't really work. And sharing the rights of the music doesn't work. But in this case, it's literally just the streaming data that's driving the price, and the stake itself as a utility token is entirely separate. So there's no rights that the artist has to give up or anything like that. It's not like those other systems.
Yes, you still have ownership.
You still have ownership of everything, as the artist. Yeah.
Putting something back into it like this than what Paul's created, and I'm really proud of it.
To be sitting here now with yourself, having it gone from an idea to having launched it, we've got artists using it now, we've got fans using it, and artists have sold stakes to their fans. Fans have bought those stakes, they've traded those stakes. So the artist has made money, the fans made money, and we've made a bit of money too. Yeah. So it's total proof of concept that it works.
I quite like the idea that it's not the industry exploiting the artists, it's the artists exploiting themselves, isn't it?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And hopefully this is a coat over that. And It's out now, and it's not a case of proof of concept anymore. It works, and we want to make sure that every artist and management company and label download this app and get to use it, because they'll see something quite profound happening.